Well, hello. Let's get into it on this Saturday when the disciples were absolutely terrified. Anyway, then he gave them these instructions: I am about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave in the field of Ephron the Hittite, the cave in the field of Mechpal near Miriam in Canaan, which Abraham bought as a burial place from Ephron the Hittite, along with the field. There Abraham and Sarah, his no, and his wife Sarah were buried. There Isaac and his wife Rebekah were buried, and there I buried Leah. Leah gets buried in the special cave. Well, the cave Abraham and Isaac are buried in. The field and the cave, it were bought from the Hittites. Why does it repeat this multiple times? Either he's getting senile, and well, that was just a writing style back then. They liked to do that. To get the words up, to be like this special number or something. Anyway, when Jacob finished giving instructions to his son, he drew his feet up into bed, breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. Joseph threw himself upon his father and wept over him and kissed him. Then Joseph directed the physicians in his service to embalm his father, Israel. So, this might involve a mummification process, potentially. So the physicians embalmed him, taking a full 40 days, for that was the time required for embalming, which, yes, it is. And the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days. When the days of mourning had passed, Joseph said to Pharaoh's court, If I have found favor in your eyes, speak to Pharaoh for me. Tell him, my father made me swear an oath and said, I am about to die. Bury me in the tomb I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Well, he said he bought it. Yeah, a cave. They didn't just throw the person in a cave. They dug tombs within the cave. And still, it's nice and good to ask Pharaoh's permission. Now let me go up and bury my father, then I will return. So it's like, where's Joseph going? Even if Pharaoh would be okay with that. Still a good thing to, ask. Pharaoh said, Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear to do. So Joseph went up and bury his father. All of Pharaoh's officials accompanying him, the dignitaries of his court and all the dignitaries of Egypt, besides the members of Joseph's household and his brothers and those who belonged to his father's household. Only their children and their flocks and their herds were left in Goshen. So other than those people, yeah. Chariots and horsemen. There is chariots again. Egypt only had chariots after first got them during the Hyksos reign. Yes. Charioteers also went up with him. It was a very large company. When they reached the threshing floor of Atad near the Jordan, they lamented loudly and bitterly, and there Joseph observed a 7 day period of mourning for his father. When the Canaanites who lived there saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Adad, they said, "The Egyptians are holding a solemn ceremony of mourning." Yes, because there was a big group of Egyptian officials, and a lot of them were wearing Egyptian clothes, especially Joseph, and like Egyptian makeup. It's not because they looked exactly the same. No. Yes. Yeah, back then Israel would have been a lot more Middle Eastern still, and not as heavily European as they are currently. Although there are some Middle Eastern looking Israelis. And Egyptians would probably also look a little bit different than they do now. But yeah, these aren't like dark black people. I mean, they would be considered dark skinned still, but yeah. They're not white either. They're not European. Everyone just draws them to make them look like themselves. That's just what they do. Anyway, that is why the place near the Jordan is called Elbow Mizraim. So Jacob's sons did as he commanded them. They carried him to the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave in the field of Mitzrapel near Menir, which Abraham had bought as a burial from Ephron the Hittite, along with the field. After burying his father, Joseph returned to Egypt together with his brothers and all the others who had gone with him to bury his father. Yes, and you know something? Today is the 8th of April. If you go with the 33rd day, 8 A.D. of Jesus' crucifixion, today would be that Saturday. Think about that for a while. Anyway, that is the death of Jacob. Next Saturday, after Resurrection Sunday, of course, Joseph is doing, well, do some final things. And we're going essentially be done with Genesis and move on to Exodus. You may go back and watch a lot of my other videos, not all of which are biblical and not all of which are books. But yes, see you next Saturday. Go watch my other stuff or something.